Welcome back to our community. Now Max Barton, the Executive Director of the Canton Museum of Art, joins us. And good morning.
Good morning, Susie.
And just so cool what is going on with the health and healing and using art for those purposes. But you also don't have to just come to the Canton Museum of Art to enjoy all of the things that it has to offer. We have Museum to Go. What is that?
Right. It's a brand new program. It's a pilot program for this season, and are looking to continue it for next season. Supported by Arts in Stark and the Ohio Arts Council. And it is a program for mainly concentrating on our fourth grade kids. So the Artful Living program from the Massillon Museum hits the preschoolers all throughout Stark County, and we look at the fourth grade level as kids are getting ready. They're getting into that testing phase and all the things that that encompass that around language arts and social studies and math and science and the visual arts and the performing arts are a big part of that. So as research shows, students do much better on tests and go on to achieve great things with the creativity of the arts. And so with Museum to Go, we are focused on the fourth grade level and expanding that from Canton City Schools and out all through Stark County. In fact, we are already hitting students and classrooms in Massillon and throughout Stark County. About 1,000 kids so far and about 50 classrooms. And Museum to Go it's not unique, but it's unique to this region. It's unique to this area. Essentially, we take a Google tour of one of the exhibits in the museum gallery, usually from our collections, one of our collection exhibits. We focus in on one piece of artwork from that exhibit, and the kids get to learn everything about that work of art. And then they apply the principles that they've just learned into a hands-on art-making project in the classroom. And through that, they improve their critical reasoning, math skills, vocabulary is all wrapped around this, and teamwork and decision-making. And so these are our core curriculum standards for Ohio and things that as kids are working through an art project, they're not only having fun, they are learning. And I think that's a distinction that everyone likes to make. Well, is it a learning experience? Yes, it's a learning, but learning is also fun, and it should be that throughout our entire lives. Mm-hmm. So Museum to Go wraps all of that into a 40-minute art instruction class that otherwise children might not get. But it comes with curriculum for the teacher and then a plan for afterward. And the afterward plan is, although they've had a virtual tour of the exhibit in their classroom, they get to come to the museum and experience it firsthand. Oh. And so far, as we were just talking before this, kids that have been coming to the museum now in February for our Dream Worlds exhibit and our permanent collection exhibit have seen the artifact, the art that they have been instructed on in the classroom, and they're anxious to get there and experience it firsthand. And the remarks over the last couple of weeks have been phenomenal, and thank you. And the kids are so excited to get here and see everything and experience it. So it's not meant to take the place of an actual museum visit that we all grew up on and we all looked very forward to. It is meant to be instruction in the classroom that really gets you ingrained into learning through the visual arts and gets you into the museum.
So in the classroom itself, the classroom experience, you're not looking at any physical pieces. That part is using technology to take a virtual tour.
It's using technology for a virtual tour, so mm-hmm. it is a Google virtual tour mm-hmm. that they come in and they map each of our permanent collection exhibits, and then we focus on one piece within that exhibit from our collection. And there is a large reproduction of that piece. Obviously, we can't take museum pieces out into the classroom, but there's a large reproduction of that. Kids learn all about that, about the artist, the history behind the piece, why it was made, how it's constructed, and it could be a work of art on paper, or it could be a ceramic piece. So they're learning everything around that, and in that they're getting vocabulary, and they're getting a little science, they're getting a little math, they're getting a lot, and history.
And this may be some of these children's first visit to the
Absolutely.
Canton Museum of Art. What is their reaction?
Absolutely. And we see that all the time because not only through the Museum to Go program, but through our involvement with Canton City Schools, fourth graders, and all the other classes across Stark County that see the exhibits that are coming into the museum, and they bring their classes. And that ranges St. Thomas Aquinas High School, where we have an arts partnership, Jackson High School, and their School for the Arts, which is an amazing place. And these are all good things. But when kids come into the museum, they're excited, and they're going to be entertained. And it's important to be entertained, but it's also important to learn. And when they come in, they're learning. So it's not just about having fun. They're getting the basics of vocabulary around art and history and learning about the visual arts, but also learning how that applies to life.
I think listeners who have not gotten to see Dreamworld's a little bit hard to describe, but
not really.
But try. You can do it much better than
science fiction and fantasy in art. And I tell people as they've come in or they've seen it online, you have traditional museum goers. You might say, well, not my cup of tea. It's not Monet. It's not Picasso. It's not, well, Canton Museum of Art, we don't do Monet and Picasso. We do American works of art, and we do art that tells a story through culture or history, and we do it beautifully, if I do say so myself. And there's a place for all of that, and right now in the museum is the art of imaginative realism. So if we go back and think about imaginative artworks, if I go back through the Renaissance, early Renaissance, any of the works of religious nature, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, if there has any symbology in there as you went through looking at depictions of heaven, depictions of hell, depictions of angels. That's the forerunner of imaginative realism. Then flash forward to surrealism and realism, and think of artists like Salvador Dali, and if we go back into the 1500s, Hieronymus Bosch. Look at these works, and then think about the artists today that do things that all of us see on our phones, at the movies, and on TV. So, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. Anything and everything like that. And I always like to say, just to remind everybody, you experience art around you every day. So here in the studio, you look at the calendar, someone did that calendar. Someone did the logo that's on the glass. An artist is behind everything. So you experience art all around you. And this exhibit, imagination and fantasy, you see it every time you turn on your TV, every time you go to the movies. Anytime you read to your kids or your grandkids, and you pull out the Lord of the Rings trilogy. One of the artists in the exhibit right now designed the jacket design when the three books were reissued when the films were so big in early 2000.
So cool.
So there's a lot. And there's a lot of different art movements depicted, from Renaissance to the old masters. And I'll tell you what, the artists that are in there they're from Ohio, and they're from all up and down the East Coast. They are working artists in the field of TV and cinema and gaming, and theater, and it is just amazing to behold.
These characters that have been imagined, just as you talk about the realism, they look so real. It looks like you are standing there face to face with a living thing that came out of someone's imagination. That's got to be so cool for the kids when they actually get to see that face to face, literally.
Absolutely,
Talk about
and it's cool for adults too.
Well,
I mean, everyone comes in, and it's good to just take some time and work your way through the exhibit. And the artists in this show, as a collective, I'll say, if you can't look at their work and get a story out of it within the first 6 seconds, then they've failed as artists. But I challenge anybody to not be able to look at one of those pieces and get their own story out of it. It doesn't have to be the story the artist had. It can be their own story in the first 6 seconds. And just it uses the imagination. We have works that are in there that came to us from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. And works that have inspired different TV series on FX, for instance, or HBO. We have an artist that has worked on Game of Thrones. So there's a lot that is depicted in this exhibit, and it's there for the imagination, it's there for enjoyment, it's there for learning, and it's curated by a local boy, Chris Seaman. And Chris has done a remarkable job as our guest curator for this program. And I say this is an original exhibition to the Canton Museum of Art. We didn't go out and rent this. We created this over a period of the last 2 years.
Is this going to tour? anywhere. Will anyone else ever get to see this?
This one will not tour.
That's a shame.
It certainly could. Touring takes a lot to put together, but I will say our first exhibit that opened this season, which was called Three Voices, Women in Art, from all over Ohio, but it was about resolution of conflict within life. Those three artists are going to be appearing again at the Decorative Arts Center. So that exhibit actually did come back together and is going on a little mini tour. So that's again an original from the museum.
Is Museum to Go available to other school systems that are not currently participating? I'm sure somebody's listening and they're saying, oh man, we need to get our children involved with this as well.
Absolutely. Museum to Go is available by contacting the museum. You can look at our website, on our Facebook page, contact the museum, our education manager, Erica Emerson. It's available to any school on a first-come, first-served basis. We are trying to focus on the fourth grade level right now at this point to get as many kids immersed in the program and get different touch points through them throughout the year, maybe 3 times in the same school within different subject areas as we can tailor that program. But that's it is open to any school. So I encourage folks to contact the museum.
Give us a website.
Website is cantonart.org.
One more time.
cantonart.org
Now,
or on Facebook.
Oh yeah, always.
Always.
Yes. First Friday is coming up. Always a big deal. What is happening First Friday this week?
First Friday is coming up March 3rd, and museum opens at 5. We're doing a free make and take. You can come in and create your own comic strip. So again, this is the last chance to really experience the Dream Worlds exhibit. It closes on March 12th, so we want to make sure we get folks in. So First Friday is free. You get to come in. As I said, there's going to be comic strip creation. There's going to be, if you have a favorite comic book character, you can come dressed in costume. There's going to be a costume contest with really cool prizes awarded after that. They don't tell me what the cool prizes are, but they will be cool, I promise you. And there'll just be a lot going on. And we try and scale First Fridays for families and to get folks out that maybe don't get to experience the museum. And I will mention as well, Thursdays are free at the museum thanks to a sponsorship from our friends at Gosser Jewelers. So they're great advocates for the arts, and Thursday has now brought out a lot of people, a lot of families to come experience the museum.
That's so awesome. How lucky are we to have something of this caliber right here in Canton, Ohio?
We're extremely lucky, and as I've said before on this show, it's great that we have the Cleveland Museum of Art, the Akron Art Museum, the Canton Museum of Art, the Massillon Museum. It's great that we're surrounded by such great symphonies, all within a 40-minute drive of each other, and it's great. You can spend an entire year visiting the galleries and the museums and attending terrific symphony concerts, ballet, theater. It's all around us. So we are very blessed here in Northeast Ohio with a very rich arts and cultural experience and such great supporters.
Absolutely. And you don't like your job at all, right?
Not at all. You can't tell. I have no enthusiasm whatsoever. No, I love my job, and I especially love the accessibility of the museum and art to the community for everybody.
Max Barton, Canton Museum of Art. Museum to Go. Go to cantonart.org. Find out more. Thanks so much for all you do in our community.
Thank you.